gonna need someone to check the trash compactor in the basement. There's blood and a body. On December 2nd, 2010, in an upscale Melbourne apartment complex, something horrifying was discovered. A young woman, just 24 years old, was found dead in the trash room. Her body was wedged between heavy garbage bags, broken glass, and bloodied walls. The source of the blood? A fall down a 40-meter garbage chute. But this was no accident. The door to the chute was just 14 inches wide, barely large enough for a person to fit. There were no fingerprints, no signs of a struggle, no witnesses. And yet, Phoebe Handsjuk was dead. What happened in the final hours of her life? And more importantly, who was responsible? This is the haunting case of Phoebe Handsjuk. You're watching Trace Theory. Let's begin. Phoebe Handsjuk was anything but ordinary. Born in 1986 to a prominent Melbourne family, Phoebe was artistic, creative, and deeply introspective. She wrote poetry, painted, and practiced martial arts. Her mother described her as having a sensitive soul. But she also had demons. Phoebe struggled with depression from a young age. She used alcohol and, at times, prescription drugs to cope. By the time she was 23, she had already attempted self-harm on several occasions, but she was also trying to recover. That's when she met Anthony Hample, a 40-something, wealthy events promoter with connections to some of the most elite social circles in Melbourne. Anthony was successful, clean-cut, twice her age, and very controlling. Within months, Phoebe had moved into his luxury 12th-floor apartment in the Balenciaga Tower. She isolated from her friends. Family members said Phoebe changed. Her spark dimmed. She was often anxious, withdrawn, or intoxicated. But no one expected what would happen next. December 2nd, 2010. Phoebe woke up late that morning. CCTV footage showed her exiting the elevator, looking disoriented. She was barefoot, carrying a blanket and 2 books. A concierge offered to help. Phoebe declined. Just before 7 p.m., the building's concierge received a strange maintenance alert. The trash compactor in the basement had jammed. A cleaner went to investigate. What they found was horrifying. The floor was covered in blood. The chute hatch was stained red, and in the corner of the garbage room, buried under bags of broken glass and food waste, was Phoebe's body. She was dead. Her legs were almost severed, cut by the trash compactor blades. Her jeans were around her knees. Her foot was twisted backward. Her arms were limp, but most chilling, her blood was everywhere, and she was still warm. She had fallen 40 meters from the 12th floor down a narrow, vertical shaft designed for trash, not people. Police were called. An autopsy was performed. But almost immediately, strange things started happening. First, the apartment was not treated as a crime scene. No fingerprints were taken. No forensics were done in the chute. Anthony Hample's apartment, where Phoebe had last been seen alive, was not searched. Why? Because the police quickly labeled it an accidental death. Their theory: Phoebe, intoxicated, climbed into the garbage chute herself. Somehow, she opened the hatch, hoisted herself in, and plunged to her death. Case closed, but her family didn't buy it.
I struggle to believe that Phoebe's dead.
Let's look at the facts. The opening to the garbage chute was only 14 inches wide. That's roughly the width of a laptop screen. It was positioned 3 feet off the ground. The door was spring-loaded and would slam shut without warning. Phoebe would have had to open the hatch, climb onto the cabinet below it, balance while lifting herself in, pull her arms inside, hold the hatch open with her feet or knees, and voluntarily drop down a pitch-black 40-meter shaft, all while heavily intoxicated. Blood tests later revealed she had a blood alcohol level of 0.16, double the legal driving limit. She also had sleeping pills in her system. According to her psychiatrist, she was zombie-like at that level of intoxication. Could she have even physically done it? Multiple experts, including the forensic pathologist and a chute engineer, said no. One said it would be like folding a body into a mailbox. Another said he couldn't replicate it sober. Yet somehow, police still claimed she did it herself. What about Anthony Hampel? Phoebe's boyfriend claimed he wasn't home when it happened. He told police he'd arrived around 6 p.m., went out for a drink, and later discovered police tape in the lobby. But inconsistencies emerged. His computer logins showed someone was using the internet in the apartment while Phoebe was likely dying. Phone records placed him nearby, but not out. He cleaned up broken glass in the apartment before police arrived, and he never offered to go to the morgue to identify her body. Friends of Phoebe said Anthony was jealous, possessive, and had a temper. Yet police never considered him a suspect. One officer later admitted that Anthony's social status likely influenced the investigation. He had powerful friends, including lawyers, judges, and politicians.
She was conflicted. She was trying to get away from a relationship that she wasn't totally happy.
Phoebe's family demanded an inquest. It began in 2014, 4 years after her death. Over 8 weeks, experts testified. Engineers, forensic pathologists, toxicologists, police, and family members all took the stand. They raised serious doubts.
It is surprising. They had 3 experts there all along the realm of toxicology and forensic, but no sleep physician, no sleep expert. So very surprising from my perspective. I would argue it's an omission.
The position of her body was inconsistent with a vertical fall. Her injuries didn't match the alleged scenario. The lack of blood in the chute suggested she may have been injured before entering it. The coroner ultimately ruled her death as death by misadventure, stating it was most likely accidental, but did not rule out foul play. Her family was devastated. To this day, no one has been charged, no one has admitted guilt, and the man she lived with, Anthony Hampel, still walks free. The truth behind Phoebe Handsjuk's death may never be fully known. Was it a tragic accident? A moment of impaired judgment? Or was she murdered and staged to look like she climbed into the chute herself? Her family believes she was trying to leave Anthony that week. She had emailed a friend asking to stay with them. She told her grandmother she was scared. Was she trying to escape? And if so, did someone make sure she never could?
It seems to me that there was enough evidence to suggest that something had gone on in the apartment before.
Phoebe Handsjuk was a bright, complicated, beautiful soul. She deserved help, protection, and most of all, justice. But she became another case swept under the rug, another name buried in a coroner's file, but not forgotten, because sometimes the truth doesn't die with the victim. It waits, in the shadows, until someone traces it.
It feels as though it's come to nothing, except that I think that the truth will come out.
This is Trace Theory, and this was the case of Phoebe Handsjuk.